it's an important day for us because I wanted to launch BW Security World, though I know Mr. Sinha has advised me that the name should be larger than that to represent the professional outsourced services industry, and we will make sure that we do uh, justice in our content and at some stage change the nomenclature also. But as I said, these are the leaders of this industry. They are pioneers. They built companies. They made a difference. So there couldn't have been a better panel to represent this industry. I don't have to introduce them formally because within this community, they are, as I said, the pioneers and leaders. Today's session is about how the government and the professional outsourced services industry are natural partners, how this industry is a natural partner to grow India's GDP, and how there should be a more closer participation between industry and the government so that the strategic nature of this industry is recognized and built upon. So let me get each one to make comments on only 4 aspects. One is the future of this industry. Second is what has been the impact in the last 4 months, and hence what kind of pivoting and resetting this industry is done. Third, what can the government do more and what can each stakeholder do? And fourth, their predictions for the near medium term. This is what I would request each of the participants to do. Let me start by asking Mr. Rituraj Sinha for his opening comments. Mr. Sinha. You'll have to unmute yourself, Mr. Sinha. Yes.
Firstly, thank you, Anurag and BW team. Thank you for organizing this event, and my pleasure to be here. I am also very happy to see my fellow industry leaders on this panel. Good afternoon to all of you. So just reacting quickly to the 4 points that Anurag has set out. I think first up, the global private security industry is more than $200 billion in absolute size. It is growing at roughly 5 to 7% per annum globally. In India, the private security industry is almost $10 billion US in size. A little bit more actually. In Indian terms, you could say that it's roughly 1 lakh crore rupees in absolute size, which is a large industry by any measure. And unlike the rest of the world, private security in India was growing at 15 to 20% per annum for the last 20 years. Now that is again 5 to 7% growth globally. So definitely India is one of the most exciting places for the private security industry internationally. Now there's been a lot of talk about the police to private mix and how we can cooperate, etc. So I just wanted to bring out some data points. I think audience would like to note that it's a global phenomena that private security outnumbers public police across countries. In China, there is 27 lakh policemen and 50 lakh private security guards. In the US, there are 8 lakh policemen and 12 lakh private security guards. In countries like Brazil and South Africa, where there is higher crime rate, in such countries, private security is actually double compared to the state police. In India also, against a 14 lakh police force and another 10 lakh paramilitary force, put together roughly 25 lakh police and para strength that India has more than 50 to close to 70 lakh private security. So I think there is a essential and fundamental umbilical cord and correlation between the private law enforcement, government law enforcement, and the private security side of things. Now, you also spoke about how this sector was impacted by COVID. I think a lot has been said about the impact on business and what happens here on, etc. I think businesses move in cycles. There are uptrends and then troughs. Probably going through a downtrend now, and that will continue to show up for the next few months. But I think what Corona will be remembered for in private security, Anurag, is the fact that the government of India for the first time actually came out and declared private security an essential service. Now, who else is essential service in India? As per the government notification, they categorize hospitals, e-commerce, banks and financial institutions, and essential manufacturing like pharmaceuticals and basic food products as essential. Private security and cash logistics was categorized in the same bracket. Now that is the big idea that we need to remember with regards to COVID and its impact on the industry. This sector officially has acquired the status, prestige, and underlined the importance that we have always maintained. My colleagues on the panel have always talked about this, but today it's not us talking about it, it's the government notifying it. So that's the big change. Now, going forward, you spoke about, lastly, how does the industry come out of this? I think I've always maintained no sector is sort of insulated from the broader economy. Ultimately, our customers are hotels and hospitals and factories and manufacturing sites and service industry, IT, everybody. We serve everybody. So we are not insulated. If the economy suffers, there will be impact on the private security sector as well. But again, my last closing thought on this would be, and I believe honestly, more so after seeing the first 3-4 months impact, that the private security sector will be amongst the lesser impacted. We will not be as hard hit as auto sector or as hotel sector or as restaurants or other sectors. We will be potentially lesser impacted, and I also believe that we will be first to recover. We will be amongst the first to recover, and I'll tell you why. It's a very simple thing. Private security is something that you need in good times. When the country is building new metros, new highways, private enterprises building new factories and institutions, you need security and cameras. But even when you are in a down cycle, you cannot remove security. You cannot throw away your cameras. So it's a very interesting, low beta correlation to GDP, where when GDP grows 5-7%, you grow 15-20%. But even if Indian GDP grows at -2-3-4% this year, private security will not grow. Our growth will shrink from 15-20 to maybe 2-3-5%. But I don't see this industry regrowing. So that's my opening thoughts on this. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much for making the discussion real and relevant and telling us. I keep saying about advertising that in good times you should advertise, in bad times you must advertise. So you're saying something similar. In good times, the security services industry is needed, but in bad times it is imperative and essential. It's a lifesaver, if I may say so. So thank you for those comments, and you're right that the security services industry, the professional outsourced services industry, has played the right role of the first responders. They put their lives out there, and hence the role has also changed, and it has become a part of our daily life and essential service. And the role of a guard has changed. The way we look at a guard has changed a little bit. So I think we'll come to more nuanced points in a while. But opening comments from Mr. Kumar Vikram Singh.
Thank you very much, Raj Batra, for inviting me for this very interesting event today. The subject that why private security industry and government are natural partners, let me tell you, we have no other option. We have no option because we are vetted by Private Security Agency Regulation Act. So this is the partnership between us. The best partnership is the situation is that not only we are natural partners, but the government is the managing partner. And they're managing partner without investing money with us. There's a strange situation when the government has not invested money into us. They are our managing partners, they control us, they do everything, and we are happy with this. We are happy with this because the way things are changing, the way environment has changed in the last couple of years and rather couple of these months also from the lockdown period, this industry has really risen. The government recognized this partner is a very good partner. They came and almost hugged and kissed us. They said, you are the one who's needed now. Now, this is a great realization on the part of the government enforcement agencies, that who can protect when everybody is quitting. It's a lockdown, it's a shutdown situation, and people are literally running. At that situation, it was a private security guard, the supervisors, the management, they under most unthinkable conditions when there is a threat to your life. And that time, these good guards and officers in the management, they showed their grit, they showed their professionalism, how they managed. I mean, so imagine the guards in a factory are not getting food, no replacement, but things happen. So in this situation, a lockdown situation, I am very proud to say that industry stood by with their own clients. They managed it very well, and there was a need to have better security because of lots of situations which happened during the lockdown time. We responded very well. As far as new relationship is concerned, government, the ministers, other ministries are very serious about it. And they are also equally serious about our growth now. Earlier, it was only a regulation. They say, how we regulate you? Not from the regulation inspector thing kind of thing. It is now moving to the partnership for growth. Now, this change in the mind of the government is a very, very positive. When they talk about us, I mean, so we have a discussion on this, how this industry can grow. This never happened before the last so many years, but this condition has now given us a new status. Now, since we are essential services partner, when you are essential partners, you do care about your essential partnership. Now, it's a time for the government now. They are showing positive responses very well. Every ministry is doing it. And as far as we are concerned, now we realize that, there are efficiency here. Now, I'm very happy that Outstanding Security Performance Awards, we'll be announcing these awards today. And I, on this channel of yours, like to say that every security guard and officers who worked during this time is needed to be awarded. Every security guard, let me tell you, they are the really frontline warriors. And every security industry, you may have recognized some of them, some of the people, but I remember how everyone, from the management to the security guard, how they performed. They don't let things go bad, no arson. The Additional Home Secretary recognized hit on the record. He said there was no single case of theft, no arson, no looting. He saw only private security guard guarding all over. This is one situation which shows the determination, the training, the supervision processes of our companies, which came to fore now at this time of crisis. See, your qualities and everything is only known when you are in a crisis. At this time, this private security industry has almost risen to the rank of a national service, which I think is a great recognition. And I see this growth in a better trajectory, like Rituraj has said. This is going to grow, and I'm also sure, by seeing observers of the international security organizations, how we managed the COVID, how we did everything, the SOPs, systems, infections. Now, I expect our private security industry from India moving here to foreign countries. We have very well trained assets now. They have gone to the crisis. Other people, I know what's happening over the world. But here, every security guard, every officer, they perform so well. So we have a great future, great growth rate, absolutely. And wonderful relation with the government. With the Prime Minister down onwards, they have given due recognition, and there's no dearth of it. This is what I like to say at the moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vikram Singh, for bringing a different dimension than Mr. Sinha. You said that, really the government and the private security services industry is a natural partner, and you got the due recognition. And in times of crisis like this, the security services industry has shown its true leadership and its true character. Coming to you, Mr. Rajiv Sharma. Mr. Sharma, Give us your opening comment, especially where do you see the industry 12 to 18 months from now? How will it impact the growth? What are the changes in the way companies operate will happen and its impact on the security services? Mr. Rajesh Sharma.
Thank you, Anurag, and thank you, Outstanding Security Performance Awards, for getting me as a panelist today for a discussion on the private security industry in India. It's an honor to be here on this panel today, along with the elite panelists and my partners in crime in running the private security industry in India. So all are the biggest.
I thought you were the security services industry. So how are you partnering?
Crime.
Yeah, because we are saying we are all partners in crime, because we have to take the brunt of the worst situations in the country.
I get it.
So yeah, so that's the reason, and thank you so much for getting us here.
I'm a naughty, hairless, toothless infant.
That's why Anurag, I didn't say that you are one of the partners in crime. I said the 3 other partners in crime. So anyway, jokes apart, I think there are a couple of things that I would like to pick up in this session. One is the relationship with the government and the future of the outsourced professional outsourced services. I think professional outsourced services is something which is the need of the hour today. And we have seen in the last couple of decades, the private sector in the country has embraced the professional outsourced services to a very large extent. And that is what has given the impetus to the security industry to grow over the last 2 decades in the country. And now it is the time, I think, for the government also to start looking at embracing the professional outsourced services for the non-critical infrastructure security, for outsourcing the non-core security activities, which today is done by the law enforcement agencies. And I think there is a tremendous opportunity which exists in the country today, in line with what's happening in probably the more matured in the global arena, where the prisons are being secured by the private security companies. The airports are being completely end-to-end secured by the private security companies. The ports are secured by the private security companies. I think we have enough opportunity in the country to support the government or partner with the government in securing these assets, which probably today are largely secured by the paramilitary forces. On the impact of COVID and how do I see the next 12 to 18 months for the private security industry in India. As Rituraj said, none of the companies or none of the industries were insulated because of this COVID-19, not only in India, worldwide. And so it was the case with the private security industry in India. To a very large extent, I think the private security industry got the benefit of the government's initiative of enrolling us as the essential services in the country. I think that played a very important role in protecting the jobs and also to a large extent protecting some of the revenues for the private security industry. However, we have seen some kind of decline in our revenues, and that's obvious because, as I said, our customers are impacted big time. Since our customers are impacted big time, so since we are their outsourced service partners, we also are impacted equally. But going forward, I think the world is changing. It will not remain this way. Probably it was pre-COVID. And my personal view is, I don't know, my colleagues may have a different view, Rituraj and Manjeet may have a different view on this, but my personal view is with the way the companies are looking at coming back to work post the COVID situation is something which is very different to what it was prior to COVID. So my sense is the business will start looking back, but getting back to the pre-COVID levels, I think will take a very long while. And my sense is, I think probably 2021 second half, that's July onwards, I think probably we will see some recovery happening in terms of the business for the private security industry. We will not degrow for sure, and because there are certain industries which are struggling for growth, we will not degrow for sure, but our growth will be hampered. And from double-digit growth, possibly, I think we will have to settle down with lower single-digit growth in the next 12 to 18 months. But the future looks very, very bright. I don't see any problem with the future to the industry, and everyone, whether you are in the right situation or whether you are in a crisis situation, you need private security, and this is going to stay here for long.
Absolutely.
On the three or four large predictions that I have with reference to, where do I see the country, and where do I see the market, and where do I see the government's support in supporting the industry. I think we have a huge opportunity in terms of Make in India, which is largely related to the electronic security and the fire systems. Our dependence on the imports from China today will definitely be controlled to a very large extent because of the intervention of the government in recognizing the MSMEs and recategorizing the MSMEs and supporting them with the working capitals, supporting them with the tax rebates, and of course also looking at increasing probably the import duties to make the imports less attractive. So all these, I think, will play a very important role in creating the jobs in the market and providing that impetus to the security industry, which industry is looking at. I am also very optimistic, and I see it's not far when government will start outsourcing some of the non-core activities to the private security industry in India. And that will open up a huge opportunity for the quality players. That will open up a huge opportunity for people who have the ability to work with the government and take up the large, important, the projects. We also have an opportunity, like we have two panelists who are here, Manjeet and Rituraj, both operate in the international markets. So we have very few companies from India who are operating currently in the international market, but I see a huge opportunity for the Indian companies to step out and probably make joint ventures with the companies globally. And because we have the talent, we have the expertise. I think what we need is basically the footprint in the global markets to be able to take India's flag into the global markets. So with this, I would like to end here and thank Anurag, you for getting me on this panel, and thank you, Outstanding Security Performance Awards, for getting me on this panel here.
Thank all of you for making time, and time is the biggest asset that any individual, time and attention. Coming back to you, Captain Manjeet Rajayan, you heard three of your fellow leaders say, I would like to get your comment, and where is our industry headed?
And Rajji, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me. It's a privilege to be with this August panel here on this BW Security World discussion. Just one little word, thank you for making me feel a lot younger. Because when you're a major, you feel older. When you're a captain, you feel much younger.
The audience, I know I was that fit. I was at one point that I did clear the NDA, and lots of my classmates were in the forces. So please pardon me. They say to err is human, to forgive divine. So this is your chance.
He remembered Captain Raghu. He remembered Captain Raghu Raman coming.
So that's how I feel. You're absolutely right. I will not get it. So he's definitely on my mind. So that's why Major Manjeet Rajayan would request you to make your comments.
And Anuragji, it's in the army. It's like the major got up, and after the general had spoken, and he said, the general made the general points. Now the major will make the major points. So, of course, that guy didn't go beyond being a major. But back to serious business. So this Rituraj has very vocally told you about what this industry is all about, how big it is in India specifically, and of course globally. The growth rate in India is probably much higher than any other part of the world. It is also one of the largest employers in the country, and so I would not speak anything more about the industry as we see it. Of course, we all have to appreciate that the government can't invest everywhere, and therefore private security industry will and has played a very important role. During the COVID crisis, this industry, like Kumar Saab pointed out, has played did yeoman service, played a great role. They were the last people standing, and we have had enough examples all around of security guards not leaving their post, even though they were not being relieved, they were not getting food. Sometimes, staying on the site for a very, very long period. So I think security industry has been recognized by the government, by the clients, as a very important organ. Something that used to be an expense earlier is now seen as a necessity. The next 6 months, as I see it, one of the things that I see happening in a very big way is technology. Now, we were all in any case moving towards enhancement of use of technology in various parts of our lives, and more so in this industry. But that has got accelerated by COVID, and that's how we are all in this panel today discussing. That's the impact of COVID. That impact in our industry will probably be much more faster in the next 6 months to 12 months. We will see a huge amount of change over there. Investments will be made, people will be upskilled, and there will be a great use of technology, which in turn creates a beautiful workforce, which till some time back was called unskilled, is now in most states called semi-skilled, will now become highly skilled because of the use of technology. As the difference between the haves and have-nots have grown during COVID, we are all aware of it. A lot of people were laid off, people have lost jobs, people have had to migrate to their local places. As they keep moving back, there will always be a bigger gap. So as Kumar Saab has been pointing out in other panels also, there is expected to be a law and order issue in the future. Crime rate may grow because of the impact of COVID. And at that point in time, this industry can and will play a very important part, considering that the government obviously cannot secure everybody, as we have one of the lowest police to public ratio in this country, which is probably half of what the United Nations recommends, especially in states like Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, even West Bengal for that matter. The government has accepted that security is an important aspect. Like Kumar Saab said, we are a natural partner. Government is also a partner in that, and as we go forward, it will become a more and more important partner, because the government will have to give out that part of the business that it does today, which is non-critical to it. And the examples are many, but I'll share one example because it's not been covered by anybody else, is Singapore, which is very unique, and we have the privilege of doing business there, where they used to have something similar to what we have, which is called the CISF. Today they don't. They completely privatized it. So from being a cost to the government, it has now become a profit center, and that company now does $1 billion plus in turnover and manages major airports, not just its own in Singapore, but a lot of airports in Australia also. Now, that force is also called the Auxiliary Police Force of Singapore. So in due course, whenever the government needs support, as it did a couple of years back when there were riots, they use the Auxiliary Police Force. So it is a dual purpose force. I think in future, India will also have to look at something similar to this, that they are available to you. It has been spoken of many times at many CAPC events that we are the eyes and ears of the government, but now we can also be the arms of the government to help it perform better. In certain countries like UK, you will find that police stations are manned by private security industry. So anything which is non-critical, which means it's non-law and order or investigative, may be outsourced to a private security company. Of course, like Rajiv said, jails are being managed by private security industry, and there is a huge area of work. So maybe the government will see this, because like we all appreciate, no government in the world can invest in everything. It does need support into what used to be called and launched by Margaret Thatcher in her era. It was called the Private Finance Initiative, PFI. In India, we call it the PPP. So in that PPP, one of the P's is going to be the private security industry to support the government. So, like Rajiv said, non-critical functions, ports, airports, etc., everything can be outsourced. The market is growing. Metros, cities are growing. As cities will grow, crime will grow. There will be a higher demand for security, which can be provided by private security industry. I think, in a nutshell, and my prediction, this business is bound to grow. Obviously, we will be impacted on its ups and downs with the economy, but I think it will do better than most of the economy. Um, we may go. We may never go back to pre-COVID levels in the near future, but overall, the future seems very bright. It will bounce back somewhere in the middle of next year, like Rajiv said, and I agree with him. And it will become a very critical part of government.
Thank you so much, Rajan. And this will not make any thank you for saying that auxiliary force. I don't know why it's echoing. By the way, this platform is a Zoom-like platform, and it is essentially a platform built in India by a company called Almond. They call it Vertex. They're a homegrown company, so it's an absolutely Atmanirbhar company. A young boy used to work in New York as a CTO of a company, came back to India, and brother imagined this, and they built this in record time, and it is global in the way its functionality. By the way, the Reliance Jio AGM happened on this platform, so it can take up to lakhs of people on the platform. So they built that kind of scalability. It can build any level of personalization you can imagine. So we are self-reliant in everything we do. But you made very important points that we can be an auxiliary police force. You gave the example of how Singapore has taken away its CISF and built it into a independent company, which is now looking at not only the Singapore airport but the airports in Australia. You agreed with Mr. Rajesh Sharma that by the middle of the next year, the industry should be back to its old glory. I want to ask you two questions. I want to start with Mr. Sinha. One is, see, you guys are leaders, big companies, pioneers. You have more paying or holding capacity than others. Having said that, Mr. Sinha, your company is a listed company, so quarterly profits matter, numbers matter, market share also matters. So I want to ask two things. One, if it is $10 billion industry today in 2020, in how many years will this double? So when will it become a $20 billion industry? Second is, what should the smaller players do? Because they're looking at advice from you, they're looking at guidance from you. So Mr. Sinha, first you'll have to unmute yourself.
Well, thanks for that, Anurag. I think the industry is going through a tough situation, not because of demand issues, not because of supply constraints, but primarily on account of cash flow constraints. That has historically also been the bane of the industry. It impacts every company, big or small. You have commitments to pay wages and statutory compliances, whereas clients who are affected by COVID today are facing their own cash flow crisis. So I think my input on I can only say what I'm doing in my own business. I think in crisis, cash is king, right? So first thing is that you extract every penny of outstanding collection that's there in the market. You need to extract that. You need to conserve. Any cost that is avoidable needs to go out. And when you extract and conserve, you must also then raise financial lines or credit lines from banking institutions for a worse condition. Now, I understand the large part of private security sector is unable to get credit from banks in India for various reasons. I can assure you that industry is working. Yesterday we engaged with the MSME minister coming, and he has assured that he will try and figure out how the private security companies can also be categorized as MSMEs and therefore be eligible. Companies which are below 250 crore rupees in annual revenue, such companies can become eligible for collateral-free auto loans at subsidized rates from Indian banks. So if we are trying to pursue to address
Automatic
the
loan.
immediate automatic basically means that if you're a registered MSME,
Sure.
you have an entitlement. And I think we are pursuing that, and we are very encouraged by the minister's commitment and assurances yesterday. Now, the other thing you spoke about was where do you think we go from here? I think pre-corona, the forecast was that the Indian security market will touch $20 billion in absolute size by 2024. That is pre-corona. Now, this is rather interesting. We'll have to watch. But what's happened is that corona has put us in a downtrend. So the growth has clearly slowed down. But as my friends Manjeet and Rajiv were saying, even Kursa was saying, that it will see a sharp spike back. So it's yet to be seen whether we are able to re-emerge, whether it's a hockey stick-like recovery. You know, what you call a hockey stick recovery, where you have a short downtrend and a long uptrend. If that happens, we could be a $20 billion sector by 2024. And I think the government is going to be more forthcoming. I can give you 3 quick trends and just re-emphasizing. Number one, I see government to outsource a lot more. Anurag, globally, government outsourcing contributes 30% of this industry's revenues. In India, it contributes less than 10%. Indian government does not outsource as much. They didn't outsource because they didn't have confidence in private security. In the last 4-5 months, government has gained a lot of confidence in private security. So you might see some of the auxiliary police force type, aviation security type roles coming to us. Number one. Number two, I think technology leapfrog will happen. Nothing will stop that now. Customers are using thermal imaging for fever checks and video analytics for mask compliance and COVID SOP compliance. CCTV cameras are becoming more and more important. I think technology leapfrog is going to happen. People are going to use less manpower and more technology. The time for Mantech has just been fast-tracked, right? And I think the third and last thing I would say that I think the industry will get a lot more recognition, prestige, and government attention. And I'm really hoping that the code on wages makes that official by declaring private security as skilled workers, finally eliminating the term chowkidar and caretaker from the Indian dictionary and vocabulary of Indian enterprise. We look forward to that.
Thank you, Rituraj, for such important comments and real comments. You have shared that government can be a big contributor to the growth, to the next 10 billion in the next 4 years by taking the usage of private security from 10% to possibly the global average of 30%. You talked about how in the last 5 months the confidence of the government in the private security services has gone up. You talked about technology immersion. You've talked of advising the younger and other security agencies keeping cash. You also talked about your own initiative as part of the industry chair to bring the MSME automatic bank credit for security services industry. So thank you for playing a leadership role in that and trying to help the industry. Major Rajan, you heard Rituraj. If you had to make 3 predictions for the future, what would those be about the Indian professional outsourced services industry? Major Manjeet Rajan, you'll have to unmute yourself.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to. My apologies. I would not like to duplicate what Rituraj just said because I totally agree with what he's saying. I think the growth is going to be, though it is not probably possible at this stage to be able to say when we'll become a $20 billion company or when industry or when we will become a 30% government outsourced kind of a business. But I strongly feel that we will be back to where we were on our growth track and we may miss our 2024 thing by 6 months to a year, but I think it's very much back, going to go back to where it was. My prediction is the government will support it very strongly. Of course, the industry has gone to the government again and again with certain requests, GST, easy loans to this sector, insurance for the people who have been doing yeoman service during this very, very bad time, and of course, a great amount of outsourcing. But I would like to share with you that the government is already cognizant of it. And I think, like Rituraj said, we have gained a lot of respect during this time. The industry has been recognized as a credible player to support the functioning of the government during critical times. And tomorrow there will be things like disaster management services which may be provided by industries like this. But meanwhile, very much in line with the government's policy of Atmanirbhar Bharat, the government is already now exploring possibilities which were not part of the private security industry under any circumstances in the past. So the example is there are countries across the world which produce what is called the private military contractors. They provide security in other countries. They go as armed guards. They go and do basic services in military establishments overseas, where the military can be freed up for its operational role. We've of course had some negative press because of certain companies, like Blackwater from US. So the government has now instituted a panel to start discussions on this and see how the Indian private security industries can also support that build-up of that private military contractors, both for manpower and technology. They can be used in the countries where there are issues going on, or can be used in things like marine security. In fact, the Defense Ministry has been mandated, and I think on Monday there is a discussion on this where I've been invited. So I think my prediction is the gates have just opened. Respect has been gained. Confidence has been created. All of that is going to support this industry to come back to its normal space and maybe go ahead. And like I said earlier, we'll be a much more skilled industry than what we were pre-COVID.
Thank you so much. Shri Kunwar Vikram Singh ji, your closing comment, and Shri Rajesh Sharma, your closing comment. Captain Raghuraman has already joined us. We're going to be speaking to him on a little more philosophical plane. But one question I want to ask Kunwar Vikram ji and Rajiv ji is, will the yields go up? The per guarding, per caretaker, if I may use Rituraj's terminology, will that go up? Will new services like Captain Rajan, just before the lockdown, we met and we talked about disinfectant services. You were telling me about the machines that you've imported. So new products and services adding revenue. And second is the yields going up. Kunwar Vikram Singh, first you, and then Suraj.
Ramji, this is what's going to happen now. In the post-COVID situation, the quality is going to become very important. You have to deliver a quality service. And for that purpose, the CAPC and the QCI has started a star rating of security agencies, which is going to play an important role, whether you're a 2-star, 4-star, 5-star. That is going to bring credibility to the industry in a big way. That will require a quality training also, supervision, all processes. This will become a new era in the private security industry in India. And secondly, since Rituraj said about the code of wages, that's going to play a very important role. A security guard who is at the moment getting very less pay, he's coming into the highly skilled salary, his salary will go up to the 30 to 40%. This will bring a different shift to the economic sustainability of the country also. And that is one thing which is going to play a lot. And third thing, again, what Manjeet has said, we take an initiative with United Nations, which we gave a proposal to the United Nations that you spend so much money on peacekeeping forces. Why don't you hire us? We have ex-servicemen. We can give you at the half the rate you're spending on your, peacekeeping operations, which are not great critically flashpoint places. No, they've been working for the last, Rajan, for the 7-8 years, ever since I used to go to United Nations, met Secretary General. Now things are coming. quality, and also see a police role for the private security industry. The community safety, these are some of the predictions I have, that it all depend on your quality services, your credibility, your training, and the money you're going to give it to your Johnnies, which is going to be as per their performance levels. This is what's going to be. The future is very bright.
Final comment from Mr. Rajiv Sharma. I don't want to make Captain Raghuraman wait, otherwise I could go on talking to you. Final comments from Mr. Sharma.
Thanks, Anurag. I can see on the chat box a lot of discussions happening with reference to we overshooting our time on the panel discussion. And I can fully understand Mr. Raghuraman waiting to get on the call with you. So I won't take much of time. I would like to thank all of you for getting all of us here on this panel. And also I would like to say on the yield part, I think the revenue per guard is definitely going to keep increasing over the years. And as Rituraj said, that if we get classification under the skill category, that itself will differentiate between what a guard earns today and what probably the guard will earn in future. So from that standpoint, I don't think there is any misconception in anybody's mind that we will not be seeing the increase in the yields. Yes, on the contrary, I think the PSIs are getting impacted because of the contracting margins, and that is something I have no answer to. How will that improve? So maybe probably in the next panel discussion we'll discuss how to improve the margins for the private security industry. Thank you very much, Anurag. Thank you everyone, all of you.
Smaller players who compete on price sometimes and not necessarily margin. So thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Sinha. Thank you, Major Manjeet Rajayan. Thank you, Shri Kunwar Vikram Singh Ji. Thank you, Mr. Rajiv Sharma. Thank you for the leaders, for being leaders in this domain and setting the tone for this industry. And I'm sure with the kind of leadership we have of this industry, maybe we'll be $20 billion before 2024. My prediction is in the next 6 months, the government will spend so much money on infrastructure that it will make up for the loss we've had over the last 4 months. And that will possibly bring impetus to the economy in a way that we've not imagined. So I believe that it may still happen in 2024 or earlier. Back to you, Kathy.
Thank you so much, Dr. Batra. Thank you to all the gentlemen for spending the time here with us at Outstanding Security Performance Awards and Summit India 2020. Thank you for your time and invaluable insights. Thank you so much.